The year was 1917. The Great War had torn Europe apart, and above its blood-stained fields, a new kind of battle raged, one fought not in trenches, but in the thin, freezing air between the clouds. Dawn bled across the horizon in pale gold as a line of biplanes waited at a muddy French airfield. Their wings trembled in the wind, canvas stretched tight over wooden bones, smelling of oil, smoke, and fear. Among them stood Lieutenant James Alden, 23 years old, flight jacket zipped to his throat, goggles resting on his cap. His fingers traced the fuselage of his plane, seraph, as if touching a living thing. Beside him, lighting a cigarette with shaking hands, was Captain Arthur Hale, his squadron leader, older, sterner, eyes as gray as the morning mist. "You ever get used to it, sir?" James asked quietly. Arthur exhaled smoke into the cold air. "The noise? The killing? No. You just learn to fly through it." The wind carried distant thunder, not weather, but guns. The front lines lay only a few miles east, where the world was burning itself alive. A mechanic shouted, "Engines ready." The men climbed into their cockpits, leather straps pulled tight across their chests. The propellers roared to life. The field erupted with noise and motion, a storm of dust and courage. James gave one last glance toward the horizon. The rising sun lit the clouds like fire. He felt his stomach twist, not from fear, but from the strange calm that came before every flight. Arthur's voice crackled through the speaking tube. "Stay on my wing, Alden. We bring everyone home today." The planes lifted from the earth one by one, wheels leaving the mud behind. The world below shrank, trenches became scars in the earth, men became ants. The sky opened before them, vast and endless. At 10,000 feet, the air bit like knives. The roar of engines mixed with the whistle of wind. James felt weightless, alive, and terrified. Arthur flew ahead, his plane slicing through clouds. To their right, two more British biplanes formed up, Miller and Grayson, the youngest in the squadron. They were barely 20, faces still too soft for war. "Form up. Eyes sharp," Arthur called. "German patrols been sighted near Arras." The men answered with clicks and short bursts of static. Words were a luxury they couldn't afford. Minutes passed. The clouds grew darker, thicker. Then, like ghosts, three Fokkers emerged from the gray. Black crosses on their wings, glinting in the morning light. "Contact! 3 o'clock high." The sky exploded. Machine guns rattled like typewriters of death. Tracers streaked past James' cockpit, orange lines tearing the clouds. He dived, rolled, pulled up hard, the world spinning in a blur of sky and smoke. Arthur looped above him, cutting across a German's tail. The Fokker burst into flame, spiraling downward, a streak of black smoke disappearing into the mud below. James caught a glimpse of Miller chasing another plane, too close. "Break off, Miller. You're too." A burst of gunfire. Miller's wings shattered. His biplane folded like paper and vanished into the mist. "Damn it!" James cried. His throat burned, but there was no time to mourn. The fight raged on, chaos and silence taking turns in the air. Arthur's voice came through, calm but tight. "Stay with me, Alden. We finish this." They circled, hunted, struck. One by one, the Germans fell away, retreating toward the east. The last enemy dove into a cloud bank and disappeared. It was over, for now. James's hands trembled on the controls. Sweat froze on his forehead. He looked to his left. Arthur's plane flew steady, wings riddled with holes. "Status?" James asked. Arthur's voice crackled weakly. "Engines hit. I'm losing oil pressure." James's heart sank. "You can make it back. I'll fly with you." "Negative," Arthur said. "We're too far east. You'll run out of fuel." "I'm not leaving you." Arthur chuckled, a hollow, tired sound. "Always the stubborn one, Alden. That's why I chose you." They turned west, limping through the clouds. Below them, the world burned. Columns of smoke rose from villages, rivers glimmered like steel veins. Arthur's engine coughed, sputtered. Oil sprayed across his windscreen. "Arthur, talk to me," James said, panic rising. "Still here," came the reply, softer now. "Tell Grayson, tell him to keep his nose up in the turns. He's too heavy on the stick. Tell him yourself when we land." No answer. Arthur's plane began to drop, slow at first, then faster. James dove after him, throttle wide open, his heart pounding like the engine beneath his feet. They broke through the clouds, and there it was, a field, far behind enemy lines. Not flat, Not safe. But it would have to do. Arthur. Pull up. You can make it. Arthur's voice came faintly, almost peaceful. You've done your duty, James. Now go. James refused. He followed him down, side by side, both planes screaming toward the earth. Arthur's biplane hit first, the wings snapped, the nose buried in the dirt. Fire blossomed. James yanked back on his controls at the last second, skimming the ground, the shock rattling every bone in his body. He landed rough, wheels slamming through mud, wings shaking, but alive. The world was quiet except for the crackle of fire. James stumbled from the cockpit, running through the smoke. The wreck burned ahead, orange against the gray. Arthur, he shouted. The flames licked higher. He tore off his gloves, clawed at the twisted metal. The heat bit his hands, but he didn't stop. Then he saw him, Arthur, still strapped in, face pale beneath soot, breathing shallowly. James? I've got you, sir. Arthur smiled weakly. You always were terrible at following orders. James laughed through tears. And you were terrible at giving them. Arthur coughed, blood staining his lips. Listen to me. The others need you now. Grayson, the new boys, they'll look to you. Promise me you'll bring them home. James shook his head, desperate. We'll get you out first. Arthur's hand gripped his wrist, firm despite the pain. Promise me. James hesitated, then nodded. I promise. Arthur's eyes softened. Good man. A gust of wind blew, feeding the flames. Arthur's grip loosened. His gaze drifted upward, to the sky he loved more than anything. And then he was gone. James sat there long after the fire died, the world silent but for the distant thunder of guns. He buried Arthur beneath the wing of the wrecked plane, marking the spot with a broken propeller. He stood at attention, saluted, and whispered, You said would bring everyone home. I'll make sure we do. The sky above was still, painted with the smoke of 1,000 unseen fires. He climbed back into Seraph, engine sputtering but alive, and turned west. The journey home was a blur. The sun sank behind the clouds, painting them red, the same red as the fields below. Twice he dodged patrols, once he almost crashed in the fog. But somehow, the old plane carried him through. Hours later, the airfield came into view, a strip of mud and hope in a land of ruin. Mechanics ran out as he landed, their faces lighting up. Grayson rushed forward. Sir. We thought you were gone. James climbed down slowly. His eyes were distant. Where's Captain Hale? Grayson asked, voice breaking. James didn't answer at first. He simply handed the boy Arthur's scarf, torn, stained with soot, but still warm. Grayson understood. He lowered his head. No one spoke for a long time. That night, the squadron gathered in the mess tent. Rain hammered the canvas roof. The air smelled of whiskey and grief. James sat alone at the end of the table, Arthur's empty chair beside him. He took out his journal, the one Arthur had given him when he first joined. Inside the front cover were the captain's words. In the sky, we are brothers. On the ground, we are the silence they leave behind. James stared at the line until the ink blurred. Then he wrote beneath it. You taught me how to fly, but more than that, how to fall with honor. He closed the book and looked around the tent, at the young faces lit by lantern light, eyes wide, scared, waiting. He raised his glass. To Captain Arthur Hale, who taught us how to be more than pilots. The men lifted theirs. To Hale. Their voices echoed through the night, a defiant sound in a world that had forgotten how to feel. The next morning, the order came, another patrol over the lines. James climbed into his plane, scarf tied tight, the same one Arthur used to wear. The engine roared to life. Grayson called out, What's the plan, sir? James smiled faintly. Same as always. We fly together. We come home together. The planes took off into the pale dawn. Above the clouds, the world was quiet again. No screams, no thunder, just the hum of engines and the beating of hearts. James looked to his left. For a moment, maybe it was the sun, maybe it was the mist, he saw another plane flying beside him. The markings, the shape, it was Arthur's. He blinked, and it was gone. But he smiled anyway. Because somewhere, between the clouds and the silence, he knew his captain was still there, guiding him home. Years later, long after the guns fell silent, veterans would speak of Squadron 42, the group that always came back together, no matter the odds. They'd talk about their leader, James Alden, and the invisible pilot who they swore sometimes flew beside him when the sky grew dark. They called him the wing in the mist. And every year, On the anniversary of that final flight, James would visit a small field in France. He'd stand before a weathered propeller half buried in the earth, remove his cap, and whisper into the wind. "You brought us home, Arthur. All of us." The breeze would rise gently, rustling the grass. The sky would open, endless, blue, and quiet. For men like them, silence was not the absence of sound. It was remembrance. It was peace.